No is such a small little word, and it's packed with so much punch to it, which is why I think it feels a little dangerous to use sometimes. And it is very easy if we can get to ourselves to the point where we do say the no, then it's easy to then feel guilty after it. So it's just so many layers to it. The first thing I would say is let's unpack it a little bit, because you can say no to the request and yes to the relationship. I'd love to help you right now, but I can't. Here's what I can do instead, right? It's because it's a negotiation. So it doesn't always have to be a no. It can be a not right now. It can be a not me. It could be a not me in this way. It could be yes, but not what you're asking. No, no shuts things down. It eliminates possibility. It's a hard stop, and it's uncomfortable, especially if it's unexpected or there's no lead up to it. And if it's delivered in a really right in your face kind of way. That's why it works. It's great. It's great, actually. It just, we either overuse it or we underuse it. And at the same time, we don't use it to its full scope. We don't honor it. A no really is a no. So let me tell you why I don't struggle with no is a complete sentence. Because when you really live into that and you take the risk to just say no and then shut your mouth, what happens over there is wildly entertaining and full of possibility. You are going to see what someone's capable of, where their edges are, what kind of mood they're in, how they can handle it, what's their next move, how are you going to take my no, are you going to take no for it? Like, there's so much to dance with. And sometimes people just really need to hear it. You know what that is? You know why no is a complete sentence scares people? I don't think it's no. I think it's the pause that comes after. Because it's like there's this moment of, did you just do that? It's very powerful because not a lot of people can do it. I've had someone say no and then be quiet, and you're just like, wow, mad respect. Okay. So now what? Right? Then you can say, all right, so that's a no. Well now what do we do? Right? And no, there's no one no that ever stopped the world from spinning on its axis. It's sort of no, and then it becomes, well, now what? But yeah, there's no, there's not right now. There's I don't think I'm the one you're looking for. There's let me think about it, and that's a really great one. There's and alongside of that is also some kind of question that helps you really understand what it is that you're going to say yes to, because that little word no leaves our lips pretty quick, and once it's out there you can't take it back. Same goes for yes. So there's always a pause, and there should be some questions or something again where you're like, let's just make sure before we make this agreement or this commitment between us, whatever it is, that we are really speaking the same language. Over explain. There's also like there's a frequency that they're in that's a little bit like shrunken and apologetic, and I'm so sorry and I'm inconveniencing you. That over compensating, the overcompensation of it diminishes so much. It actually, here's the thing. When we overcompensate, if someone comes to you and you say no in a way that's over explaining and overcompensating, I'm so sorry and I wish I could, and let me just see if I can rearrange some things, and you over give like that, you are not demonstrating your capability. You're actually demonstrating your lack of confidence. You're demonstrating your inability to hold boundaries. You're demonstrating a little bit that you might be like fickle. There's a little bit of like an instability there. No can, whereas a firm no can create clarity. Whereas even a pause, well, I just need to think about that. Let me check back in. When do you need to know by? That's a great response. When I know, when I know where your boundaries are, then I know what my role is. I know how to approach you. I know how to make reparations. I know how to be in relationship with you. It's very clarifying. It's actually, we set boundaries with people to keep them in our lives, not to push them out. You didn't get the job. You didn't get the yes you were looking for. You didn't get the whatever. You were told no in whatever capacity. Okay. And now what? It is clarifying. It's just, it's not comfortable all the time, but it's a great, always a great story on the back end, because you're like, and if I hadn't heard no 100,000 times, I never would have done. It's a redirection. It's no is a redirection. Yeah. The confidence to say no. Yeah. So the first thing is yeah, you got to be self-aware. You got to be connected into your own energetic capacity and your own, you know what I mean? Your own vision. I'm saying, you're not just saying no to be a jerk. You're saying no for a reason. So you got to be connected into the bigger yes. When you're saying no to something because you're saying yes to something else, right? So you have to be really connected into the frequency of that, not just the idea of that. That leading with that speaks volumes about your character. And so even if the person on the other end doesn't like it, they kind of got to respect it because you're really walking your talk, right? You can't deny that for a starter. The thing is, you know, you don't just run in and be like, no, and then run away. You can say, yeah, and you can say, listen, yeah, I'm sorry to have to say this, but no. Or listen, I'm a firm no on this, but I still want to help you find a solution. So something, you can stick around with the person. The other thing is also the other is allow them to have their process. You're going to say no, they wanted it to be you turn them down, they're allowed to have a reaction to that, as long as, you know what I mean, in a healthy way. Let them have that. Go, yep, for sure, that's justified. You ready to talk about what next? Like, there have been times where I have said no to people and then they have blasted me and I just stood there and took it. And go ahead. You can do this until you are blue in the face and yell and scream and stamp your feet and I'm gonna allow you to have this reaction. And at the end of it, the answer, unfortunately for you, is still gonna be no. People are afraid a lot of times in their relationships to say no because they don't want to say no to the relationship. They just want to say no to the thing, but don't really separate that. There's not a lot of, up until now, especially in like romantic relationships, coupled pairings, there's a lot of like, you were supposed to become this entity, right? You become us or we or whatever that is. And I think the healthiest relationships are able to maintain their own sovereignty and their own boundaries, but also have a relationship that is an entity on its own that also has boundaries. So when you have that structure in place, it becomes a lot easier to say no, because it's not about me or you, it's about the health of the relationship. I'm saying no, not to you, but I'm saying no because I'm concerned. This is my concern about our relationship, right? And then both people have something that they are co-invested in, instead of I'm saying no to you and I'm saying that, and then we are taking it personally. Yeah, yeah. And we can also, you know, I think there's a lot to be said around in the in relationships, as far as I've been told, you know, you can get caught up in an argument and it's easy, right? Because you know the person's vulnerable shots. Like, don't take those pot shots. Fight clean, not dirty. And if it is a no and it's a firm no, and I'm like imagining some kind of like, I'm not going to your family's for Christmas or some kind of high stakes situation, right? Don't fight about it. You can say, look, I'm not going. It's your family or whatever that is. You can have a firm no without it having to be at this level. And there's nothing you're going to say to convince me. I'm not going. I want to help you like work through how to tell your family about this or how to approach it. It's my boundary. Do you want me to tell them? Like, there's a conversation around a no in most cases, unless it has to do with consent, and then fuck no, it's no. Sometimes it's okay to like let it, if it is a hot no, let it cool off a little bit. Take a little bit of time away before you try to go back and turn it in, convert it to a yes, and da 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 da. That's the other thing too, is like really understanding like a firm no. It's very clear. Do not try any tactics on me. But if you're just like, well, I'm sorry, and I'm not really sure, and maybe, and well, I'm da 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 da, then I got a bridge to sell you. A lot of people struggle with no because they wait too long. They struggle with boundaries because they wait too long to set them. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, there's a barbed wire fence here now. And people are like, whoa, plan it out, rehearse it a little bit, like anticipate, I'm going to say this, and then they're probably going to, do you know what I mean? Sometimes when we say no or we set a boundary, the other person is that their response is something to the essence of, I don't understand. Well, why do you have to do this? Or why can't you just do this? It's just one day. He's your brother, blah, 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 blah. Don't try to make them understand. That's not your job. The response is this. I hate that you don't understand this. I can feel that you don't understand this, but I don't need you to understand it. I just need you to respect it. And if you want to continue to talk about this later, we can, but for now, this is where the line is. As long as you're engaging in a negotiation of, I don't really know, or maybe, or this, or well, here's why, and you don't understand this, and da da da, as long as the door to yes is open. So you got to shut it. You can shut the door and again, not abandon the situation. Like I've had conversations within my family around boundaries where it's like, okay, I'm a no. And I understand now that for whatever reason, you guys can't or won't set the same boundary that I have, even though I know you really want to. I'm a no. But let's talk about now, because I know that leaves you in a difficult position. So I'm happy to talk about how you maybe navigate that and what your options are, but I'm out. Last Christmas too, I remember setting, because my sister is usually the buffer between me and my mom. I'm no contact or very low contact. My mom lives with my sister, and I have been like, I don't stay at their place when I go there. So I was like talking to Emily, these are my boundaries. I'm going to come for Christmas morning, open presents, but I'm not staying for Christmas dinner. I don't want to see anybody else who's coming to this house. Right. Blah, 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 blah. These are my boundaries. She's like, great. She knows them. She stuck to them. And I had this moment, I was like, I said to her, hold on, wait a second. Do you want me to have any of these conversations with mom? Because it's not your job to hold my boundaries. And so if you want me to, even though I don't talk to her, I will soften this boundary to go set a new one. Thankfully, she didn't make me do it. But I'm pretty sure everyone knows Kendra's not coming for Christmas.